Hey guys, welcome to our channel. Thanks for checking us out. I'm Nate.
And I'm Courtney. And for today's video, we're going to be going over all of our van systems. So we're going to talk through all the systems that we have in our van and what we do to maintain them.
So we'll be covering our electrical system, our propane and plumbing, and then we'll go over vehicle maintenance as well.
And then we'll also show you guys how we maintain our composting toilet and then go over some of the general cleaning that we do in the van on a weekly or monthly basis just to keep everything fresh and comfortable. The first thing, and probably the most important thing to maintain, is going to be your van itself. Number one is just making sure you're always getting your regular oil changes, getting your tires rotated regularly. We've noticed that because the van weighs a lot, we have to get our tires rotated more frequently. Checking tire pressure always before you go on a long trip. And then when you do get your regular scheduled maintenance, your oil changes, make sure that you save all of your records. We actually had a pretty bad breakdown and we had to get a whole new engine. Luckily, we were still under warranty, but in order to qualify for that warranty, we had to show that we were maintaining the van, getting regular oil changes, so always keep those documents. So next up, we'll talk about our plumbing system. We have a 30-gallon freshwater tank that's mounted in the driver's side bench and a 20-gallon gray water tank that's mounted underneath the van. So we usually find that we have to dump and fill our tanks about once a week if we're being fairly conservative. When we're dumping and filling, we try to give everything a once over and make sure that none of the fittings have come loose and that we don't have any leaks. When it comes to finding places to fill and dump our tanks, we usually find dump stations at state beaches, at rest areas. We use apps like iOverlander to find these facilities. We spend a lot of time in California and on the West Coast, and we've never had a problem finding appropriate places to dump our gray water. We try to make sure we're getting it in the sewer because honestly, our gray water smells bad, and we definitely don't want to be dumping it on the street or in the storm drains or anything like that. So for us personally, we just have had a pretty easy time finding dump stations, and we've also filled up our fresh water at gas stations. Sometimes if you buy gas, they'll let you fill it up there.
So in order to keep our drain system clean, we try and stay conscious of the things we put down there. Sometimes we're not too good at it, but we've actually just recently added a little strainer in the drain that kind of catches all the debris. And then we also have a waterless trap in the drain line. So that keeps any of the odors from entering the van from the gray water tank. In addition to keeping the drain lines clean, we like to keep our holding tank clean.
So we got this thing, it's called a Rhino Blaster. It fits onto our gray water tank, and since our gray water tank does get pretty gross since we let food go down there, we're able to clean it out with this thing. So you just attach it to the tank and it squirts water inside, so it kind of gets off some of that buildup and then drains right down to the sewer through our hose. So that can be a good option if you have the same gray water setup as we do.
And we use a 3-inch RV drain hose that we keep in a storage container underneath the van.
I'd say we do the pipe cleaning and the gray water cleaning every couple of months.
Next up is our electrical system. We really only check for 2 things here, so the upkeep is pretty easy. One is checking for loose connections on all of our wiring, and number 2 is keeping all of our solar panels clean. So we usually like to get up on the roof about once a week or so and give them a good wipe down.
Okay, so let's talk about our toilet. So we have the Nature's Head composting toilet. We love it. I know this is kind of, opinions vary on this, but we honestly really love it. And first, I'll start by saying we're not going to go over every single detail about the toilet, but if you are interested in the Nature's Head, I would recommend going to our website and checking out our blog post on it. We did a very thorough and detailed blog post on all the things to know about the Nature's Head, how to make sure that yours is working properly, and how to dump your stuff responsibly. We pretty much use our toilet exclusively. We don't really use public restrooms anymore because we've gotten so comfortable. We do have to dump the liquids bottle quite frequently. I'd say probably every 2 days. Make sure that you're never letting any pee sit in the tank for long periods of time because you will get a gross buildup. So make sure you're dumping that regularly. For the compost portion of it, we find we can go about a month to a month and a half between changes.
And when we dump the compost, we usually have to let it sit for, I don't know, half a day, sometimes a full day, just to make sure there's no fresh stuff in there.
Yeah.
And when we dump it, it's fine.
It's not bad. It doesn't really smell. It just looks like soil, like dirt. Obviously takes some getting used to, and you want to make sure that your toilet is working properly. So we had a leak in our toilet when we first got it, and we only discovered this because we were not using the compost section. So we noticed that liquids were getting into the compost, and that is going to create a big problem. So we actually had to silicone and seal up those leaks. So make sure you don't have any leaks if you do get the Nature's Head. And again, our blog post goes over more of those things.
Next up is our propane system. We use propane as a fuel for our heater, our water heater, as well as our stove. We keep a 20-pound propane tank in a sealed locker that sits next to our water tank in the bench in the back here. The amount of propane that we use varies greatly depending on the season. During the winter months when we're using our heater a lot and it's constantly running, we'll probably refill our tank once a week, maybe every couple weeks. But in the summer when we're not using our heater, our tank will last us sometimes 2 to 3 months, so it really just depends. And when we fill it, we usually take it to a gas station or a propane facility, and we can get it filled for about $15. One thing, if you are running propane in your vehicle, really important to have a gas detector. We have a propane and carbon monoxide combo detector, so if there's any leaks, we'll be alerted with the alarm.
So today's video is sponsored by Truebill. Truebill is an all-in-one finance manager where you can track your savings, your spending, your investments, even your credit score.
And the thing we probably like the most is subscription management. We got a ton of different random subscriptions everywhere, and this kind of helps keep all that organized.
Yeah, you can see all of your subscriptions in one place. So what I find sometimes is that some of my subscriptions, like Netflix or anything like that, any subscription, different apps that you might use, sometimes I forget that I have a subscription to them and I keep paying for them without really realizing it. So with Truebill, you can really go through and see all of those subscriptions, and you can take out what you don't need and cancel things that you're not using. So it makes it really easy to keep track of those. So we're getting really serious about our savings, which we never really have in the past. So we're really excited to have Truebill as a tool to help us get to where we want to be. So if you guys want to find out more, you can check the link in the description. Okay, so the last thing we'll go over is just general cleaning. So on a daily basis, we vacuum, sweep, pretty much every single day. We get a lot of dog hair in here. It builds up so quickly. So we're always on top of sweeping and vacuuming the floors every single day. On a weekly basis, I'd say that we wipe down all of the surfaces. We have white cabinetry. I'm surprised that it actually stays fairly clean because we have a dog, but we do have to wipe it down pretty often just to keep some of the dirt off of it. We did get a higher quality paint with a more glossy finish. We find that that's a little easier to wipe off. Something that we do probably every 2 months or so is wash our cushion covers. So we had our cushion covers made with a zipper so that we can take them off and wash them. This is definitely a game changer. They are like new after we wash them, so definitely something to think about if you're doing a dinette setup. As far as laundry goes, since we get this question a lot, I thought I'd answer. We usually do it at laundromats. I'd say we do that every 2 weeks. And then we have the butcher block countertops. So honestly, we're pretty bad at maintaining these. We could be better, but we use a mineral oil to seal them. So we usually re-oil them and reseal them every 3 to 6 months. Next up is our Max Air fan. So this thing gathers a lot of dust on the screen. So we try to take the screen off and remove any dust that gets on there probably once a week, because if it's getting dirty, you're not going to get as much airflow. And then you can also take the screen off and clean up in the inside. And then we also found out that you can take the motor apart. If you're having any squeaking in your fan, you can take that apart and give that a cleaning. And then the last thing is our refrigerator. So the refrigerator is pretty easy to maintain. We just kind of give it a good wipe down every 2 weeks or so. The freezer, on the other hand, tends to build up a lot of ice. It's good to defrost the whole fridge freezer if you can. There are a lot of different ways that you can remove the ice. The way we do it, which might not be the best way, is to just kind of pull it off and then get rid of it. It comes off in big, huge chunks. So something to think about. You'll probably have to deal with if you have a freezer in your van. All right, so that pretty much wraps it up. I hope we didn't forget anything. We've kind of gotten into this routine with the van and everything feels kind of normal for us, but I know it can seem a little intimidating when you're first getting into van life. There's a lot of things to maintain and take care of, but the more practice you get with it, the easier it becomes.
Yeah, realistically, it's not really much harder than a house though when you think about it. Kind of just cleaning and
just different.
It's different, yeah. Some things that you might not expect, but yeah, just wanted to give you this realistic view of what you got to do or what you might have to do. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you can find some of our other videos helpful as well. If there's anything you want to see specifically, just ask or follow us on Instagram. I just started a new Facebook group as well, so if you have any questions, you can pop in there.
It's called Van Talk with Court and Nate, and we just want to have a place to share as a community and just trade information, and yeah.
So go share.
Okay, bye.
See you later.